One of the bloodiest fucking prisons there is.
Pollock, that's what it's called.
Pollock, Louisiana. That's in our district, so everybody, a lot of people I were with came from there or had been there at one point in their higher levels. Where I was,
Louisiana prison.
I ended up at a minimum, right? But there's 4 levels, and if you're a medium or USP, which are the 2 highest, or 2 second highest, that was a Pollock or Beaumont. Bloody Beaumont and fucking Pollock. They say people are blown out on helicopters like once a week. So many stabbings and lock stockings. Very, very
Blanket parties.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's what they did. In fact, I can't wait for this video to start to listen to the podcast about some people who's
They got blanket party.
Came out as trans.
Hey, I'm a fucking tranny over here.
A fucking 60-year-old Irish trans. Yeah, that's
Hey,
Probably happened.
I'm sure it's happened, but like a mafia, an Irish mobster that in his 60s decided he's a trans.
I may Haile Selassie.
That's a good sitcom.
You made kids, but that guy, he's a fucking
Oh
animal.
my god.
He killed 7 guys with a fucking chainsaw
It's a
hidden under
He
his
rips
dresser.
all the guys' dicks off.
It's a comedy. He's in the witness protection program, so he went trans as part of his undercover identity.
Like that
That's a lot. That's a
Lilyhammer,
far
but
step.
Lilyhammer, but trans.
Yes, but and Irish. And
Yeah.
Trans hammer.
And the dude just can't help being a drunk and beating on people, even if he's a big trans woman.
Yeah, the alcohol. He gets
You get
drunk.
Tony Sirocco to play him.
He's like American Werewolf in Paris, but gay and Irish, where like he gets drunk and he turns into a trans werewolf.
Oh, that sucks.
He died.
Sorry.
Trans werewolf.
Yeah, it's like
Trans Irish gangster werewolf.
American Werewolf in London, but it's gay and Irish, and he gets drunk and he turns into a gay trans werewolf, and he wakes up in a fucking
You could call it
surrounded by a bunch of naked gay rods in a petting zoo.
Gay
call
rods?
it American Irish gay werewolf in Sully because it's inside him. Yeah.
An American tranny in
Prison.
Florida.
That's the thing. They're
Oh,
moving all the
God.
train eaters around in prison. But the thing is, I was reading about it, and they're like, there is over 1,500 trans people in the federal prison system because of the Trump's new orders. They're about to have to start moving around. And then it went through. It's like there's 750 men and 700 something women. But most of them are already just in the places where they want to be anyway. And so we're only moving 24 of them.
Move them where?
To a fucking men's prison. Because only 24 of them are in fucking
Why, so they won't cheat at sports?
Yeah.
Jesus
I mean, it
Christ.
really, I mean, fucking...
Jesus
Think about what
fucking-
really matters, America.
I mean,
High
really,
school football.
The weenie guys should be in fucking with weenie guys. I mean, you got the weenies. And most of them didn't want to move. They wanted to be with men. That's the thing.
I think it depends on the severity of your crime. If you fucking killed a family of 5, then yeah, you shouldn't be allowed gender
Hey, where's that guy
affirmation.
that
And they
steals
all-
people's faces and their identities? I'm right here, Chief. Oh, thank God.
They already, like, Seagoville, Low is a fucking, pretty much a trans unit. Like, it's all trans and sex offenders there.
I think they should take all sports, especially
Man,
high
I need to
school
hang out
sports
there outside the gate.
and college
There's a
sports.
playground across the street. You could sit at a playground.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I think that's like for torture. It's like so the people can look out the window and see kids playing merrily in a playground.
You're missing
and
all
like,
this.
I'm never getting out of here.
It's the same thing at the Texarkana where I was. You could sit and watch kids play soccer across the fucking field.
I think that's just
an
for
invisible line.
emotional torture. Yeah.
There was
Go!
Look at all those kids having fun. Oh God, I'm in hell.
Yeah, kind of.
God, another dildo beating, huh?
Another dildo beating. God damn. I mean, it isn't. Well, what movie was that? Which Guy Ritchie movie where he beats the dude to death with a big
Lock,
dildo?
Stock.
Lock, Stock.
Yeah, and also everything, everywhere, all at once. There's a big giant dildo fight.
Oh, yeah, and the butt plug, too.
Uh-huh.
That's such a great movie.
It wasn't. It was a trophy. It used as a butt plug.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
How odd that trophy, whatever it was for,
Was shaped like a giant,
exactly
gay, like a gay
butt
bull
plug.
butt plug.
Yes.
Like that wasn't like an intermediate fucking anal training set. That was like a fucking black leather bull fucking.
Maybe it
dildo.
came from another dimension where stuff like that happens more often or something. I don't know. an Olympic sport
God, yeah, that was fucking wild. Yeah.
where both men, women, and transsexuals all compete in a unified field, much like how there used to be unisex bathrooms everywhere.
Yeah, it shouldn't be
And people
because you're a
fucking
certain
freaked out.
type of
It was like,
person. It should be the best of the best, regardless of where you come from. You know, it's
Yeah.
the whole DEI thing.
What if they made like Rocky 8 where he fought Adrian? She was like just fucking in the background going fucking crazy the whole time. Just like, I can't take this shit anymore.
Be a short movie. You just fucking pound her head into a pulp.
I hadn't watched that movie in so long, and they played there was a clip I saw from Rocky the other day, and it was there like, man, movies in the 70s were fucked up. And it was a scene I did not remember, but Rocky's talking to a couple of Italian guys in the neighborhood. Like, yeah, I'm going out with Adrian. And they're like, that retarded girl? And they're like, you should take her to the zoo, Rock. Retards love going to the zoo. And he's like, oh, come on, guys. Don't do that. And then it skips to the next scene, and she's all, Rock, what are we doing at the zoo? He's like, I don't know.
Oh, you retards like this sort of thing, eh?
Yeah.
What do you have, Down syndrome or something?
What are you retarded?
What's your major malfunction?
I mean, I guess technically what?
All right, let's hit the road, Jack.
All right.
4:15.
Yeah, that's all recorded preamble.
Oh.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome to Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclast. This is episode 2 of what may be 3. It's looking that way. Of Lewis and Clark, The Weird Shit. This one's going to be titled something akin to Meriwether and Willy'S Bogus Journey.
I mean, it took them like 2.5 years, so
Yeah.
Meriwether Lewis.
we could give them at
Electric
least
Boogaloo.
2.5 episodes, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's all the side shit, too. Like I said earlier, I think on Mike, I've just been in the mounds
In the
the last
mountains.
several days.
What's?
Almond Joy's better.
Tell me about the common
You're
thread
nuts.
between the Cahokia Mounds and Lewis and whatever the fuck, Lewis and Clark, because they didn't go to the Cahokia Mounds, did they?
Nephilim giants.
Well, there's that whole aspect, which I didn't even get into yet.
Yeah.
I was doing more research in another direction.
Well, because it goes off in way too many fucking directions.
Yeah,
Because
because
it's like, what's the common thread there?
essentially we know fuck all about these mounds.
Yeah.
And it's been that way forever. And, you know, I'm sure that some people, if you were educated in American public schools, maybe you vaguely remember them being called like Indian mounds or burial mounds. But that's not the case. That's just the quick write-off.
Yeah,
But,
because I mean, their age suggests that they were way before
Oh, yeah. Way before.
way before the proverbial Redskins.
We'll get into one specific example down the road here, but yeah, we're still kicking out the jams of the weird shit on the Lewis and Clark Expeditio. But first, as always, oh, by the way, I'm Mike Lucht, and I'm joined by
Spencer Lowry.
Christopher motherfucking Nephilim Wells.
and we're gonna do a little What's Weird this week.
I'm the shortest Nephilim in the world. Well, that and he'd been eating all the fucking plastic off my goddamn electrical. Anyway,
That shit must be delicious because
I don't know why the rodents
so many rodents, even cats, love it.
love
Well, it's
electrical.
probably the blood thing. You know how blood has a coppery taste? Maybe that's,
So we got all these squirrels with bloodlust.
Yeah.
well, I mean, a lot of animals like...
meth head vampires go into fucking architectural sites and whatnot.
Speaking of meth head vampire, Spencer, what do we got going on this week?
Oh, yeah. What was your first clue? This guy may be involved with drugs.
Is this fairly local? Because I see a Sulphur Springs
Yeah.
tattoo on his neck.
I was thinking that same thing, but and his last name is Gonzalez, so he could be a Texican.
Well,
But he goes by Gizmo.
oh,
yeah.
It says, well,
it's a Florida man.
of course it's a Florida man. But he might be a newly Florida man because... is there a Sulphur Springs, Florida? I'm going to look that up.
Well, I know there's lots of mineral springs, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised.
Go ahead and give us the headline, Spencer.
Yeah, this poor fuck.
You can see the regret.
You know,
plastered across
accosted
his
a
facade.
65-year-old woman and made off with $50 worth of cleaning supplies and a box of goldfish crackers. Well, it's probably a carton or a bag. They don't come in boxes.
Sulphur Springs
As a parent, I know
Pouches.
is indeed a hood in Tampa, Florida.
this. There we go, yeah. This fucking guy.
Represent.
That half-ass spider web between his eyes. What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
The spider brain. Anyways, yeah, he accosted a
Skull
65-year-old
full of
woman.
spiders.
got away with $50 worth of cleaning supplies and a box of goldfish crackers.
Fucking inflation's a motherfucker.
Yeah. He hit her in the face with the goldfish crackers, causing a small cut under her lip. It's like,
She got cut by a cracker?
give me those magic erasers, bitch! And just fucking hit her with the goldfish crackers.
You
in the
could
face.
easily deglove an old woman, like rip her skin right off. So
Yeah, that is.
Oh yeah. I
mean,
mean they sneeze and their whole fucking arm is brown.
shit their
from it,
pants.
you know.
Yeah,
Happens all the time.
that's terrible.
Yeah, you know.
We're almost there, guys.
This guy has a record. When he was in a Family Dollar, no less.
God damn.
I mean, if you're
We need to
robbing
put the
people,
family back in Family
You're
Dollar.
if you're robbing people for Ajax in a fucking Family Dollar, I mean, come on.
For $50, it had to have been the magic.
This guy has a rap sheet that includes theft, trespass, robbery, cocaine possession, disorderly conduct, and attempted armed robbery. Attempted. That means they were accosted before they could fucking get shit done. Yeah, he served like nearly 2 years in prison. $30,000 bond. It's got a
Dollar-
nice palm tree in the Family Dollar.
Yeah.
That's Florida for you right there.
That's
Beautiful.
That's Florida for you right there.
Florida, the land of palm trees and
Hey, y'all,
unsafe Family Dollar parking
his
lots.
eye on the left is going that way, and his eye on the. I mean, he's looking at me with one of his
Get
eyes.
kicked by a mule, eyes go cross. Falls down a well, eyes go back again. I don't
that
know.
Fetty Wap thing going on.
No, Fetty Wap is missing an eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe this guy stole it.
1738.
How do they treat people in prison that hit old ladies with bags of crackers?
I mean, they just read the charge. So he
Yeah.
just got an aggravated robbery or armed robbery. So they're just gonna be like, "Oh, you're just an asshole."
Next time, that old lady ain't gonna see what hit her.
Yeah.
They come up and try to talk to people, and the other inmates are like, "Don't talk to me."
Yeah.
Well, they say people go to jail and learn how to be better criminals. What's he going to use this time? A box of saltines instead of a bag of goldfish, as his attack weapon?
He could own that into like deadly ninja star skills, possibly.
I mean,
Possibly.
really, the cleaning supplies would have been like an actual one. Like you spray somebody with some some Fabuloso. Probably.
So
spray some Ajax in
he
their eyes,
hit
blow in
the
their eyes.
woman with the shit that he stole from her. So that means he grabbed, he pushed this gal over, grabbed the shit, and then just with the bag of groceries, just wailed and whopped her in the face
Yeah.
with it.
Okay, so he didn't even rob her. He robbed her outside the store as she was walking out.
Yeah, with her fucking her fucking prune juice and her fucking off-brand cherry sours.
Damn, what did he think he was gonna get? Like, at least go outside of like
The satisfaction of a hard day's work.
a Neiman Marcus or something, or fucking hell, even a Whole Foods. You go steal some Whole Foods food, it's at least worth more than.
Give me them off-brand 3M sponges, bitch.
Yeah.
Have either of y'all been in a Family Dollar or Dollar General fairly recently?
Yeah, there's one right here. I go.
Those places
Dollar General
are-
is sprucing up.
Fucking pits of despair.
No, yeah, they're food deserts. It's terrible.
Saw.
They're strangling all the poor people out in East Texas.
Well, yeah, out there. This one is literally right next to a grocery store. But that's where I saw the 6-year-old shoplifting with her slightly older sister. And I looked at her. I'm like, God damn, kid.
Good life lessons, sis.
Yeah. And then she
Well, they figure that no employee there, with the one cashier that's supervising the entire store, is going to give a shit about a kid walking out with a 2-cent
wouldn't.
fucking.
well, the thing is,
I'd be too busy
At
thinking about how to
first,
kill myself.
okay, the employee walking by did do a double check to them and went and looked back. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of racist. Even though she was a Hispanic lady and she went and looked at these young black girls.
That's
But then
Wow.
as soon as the lady came back, looked at him down the aisle and walked off, that little girl, I'm like, oh, that's fucked up. And then I see that little girl just start lining her jacket with the shit she had in her hands. And so, she wasn't wrong.
for all you know, she came back the next day with a bouquet of flowers for that poor Mexican woman.
I
Didn't return anything stolen, probably, but
no. Flowers were stolen.
yeah. Anywho, some 2-bit backwater treehouse crook is in the pokey.
All
I say?
right.
how will we go on?
Yeah. Rip to Gizmo.
Don't get him wet.
Chris?
Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I just got an old, simple fucking thing here to another silly bit of fucking stupid criminals doing silly, normal criminal things, but they did it with a little bit of interest, like something interesting here. Men busted trying to launch meth and tobacco over a federal prison's walls with an air-compressed T-shirt cannon.
Could you imagine? That's all you fucking need in
That's
jail.
a real spray and pray situation.
The only thing, what if they sent all that and forgot the fucking lighters?
You don't need a lighter in jail. You use your batteries.
What about for meth? Well, they probably just eat the meth.
They just eat and
or
snort the
it,
meth.
yeah.
Actually,
Or put it up their bunghole.
or they shoot it up. They get syringes from
that ass
diabetic,
candy.
and they shoot it up. Or or they can put it up their ass.
You stick it up the booty hole. It only hurts until it don't no
Which,
more.
yeah, why would you want to be methed out in fucking prison? Like, that's just gotta be the worst.
To engage in,
I got a lot to do today.
It's
to engage in pleasures of the flesh.
there is that, because there
Like mortification.
I ended up in a tank where people had meth one time, and a dude was literally on the day room table combing his blanket with a comb, getting the little hairs off of it. And then he went and used that blanket to make a tent to jack off in for several hours.
Damn, could you imagine being geeked out with no
Perfectly
porn?
clean.
Oh my
Jerk
god.
Oh, they actually had cell phones smuggled in, too, that they were watching porn. So,
Well, that's why you hear the stories
Oh,
about
shit.
dudes drawing tits on people's backs and things like that.
that sometimes you just like the way the suds run down the crack of another man's ass, you know?
And use that ramen noodle bag condom.
Ugh.
They're a pair of Colorado men. They got
I'm never
creative
ever going to go to jail.
in Louisiana. This is Pollock, Louisiana prison.
So Colorado men got creative in Louisiana. That
I don't-
sounds like the beginning of an adult movie.
It doesn't go into it. It doesn't say that they're, and it's like they call it Colorado men, but then it says, well, actually one of them's an illegal immigrant. So he's not quite a Colorado man. I guess they didn't want
From the Netherlands?
Yeah, from the Netherlands. Right out of this Dutch name, Jose Francisco Herrera Munoz and Angel Gonzalez Gutierrez,
Gunderson,
18
from
and
Norway.
19, tried using the air cannon to fire $112,000 worth of tobacco and $89,500 in methamphetamine
God
over a
damn.
fence. They're really specific with this, and I'm sure they're using prison money.
Yeah.
Because a cigarette's like
Yeah, and they're
$8.
puffing up the numbers. There's only so much dope you can fit in a
Disney
fucking
bucks.
t-shirt can.
Yeah, but I mean, a gram of meth in prison is like $400. When out here, it's like $40. It's 10 times as much. The cannon they were caught with, similar to those used in a t-shirt, send t-shirts into the crowds and arenas, can propel objects more than 350 feet. That's pretty good.
I got busted at t-shirt cannoning all this meth and tobacco into a prison, and all I got was this
But that's the
t-shirt.
thing. They had to, like, all these federal prisons, there is a truck that drives around them all day long. You can watch it. All of them have one truck that just makes laps. There's a little road that goes around the prison, and Pollock is a USP, which means it has 2 fences and a wall. Lows get a fence. Mediums and highs get 2 fences and a wall. So that's a pretty good distance. And they have to get close enough to be close to that road where the dude driving the truck around fucking comes.
Takes a little bit of engineering and
So they had to do some calculations to get it on the yard there. But obviously they didn't calculate very well because they fucking got caught.
Yeah.
Both suspects were
what
arrested
was
for
that
a
game where you throw axes at each other?
stretch. Oh wait, no, that stretch is on the ground. You ever played that one?
No.
You
It's
stand
like dodgeball, but with axes.
You
Yeah.
stand with your feet first y'all both just stand facing each other. And I throw a knife next to your foot, and if it goes outside your foot, you got to move your foot there. And then you throw a knife over at my foot and a little past it, and I got to stretch my leg out there. And you both do that until you're doing the splits, throwing knives at your feet while you're doing splits on the ground.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That was invented before fun.
My grandpa supposedly put a knife through a guy's foot doing that before. So says my dad, anyway. My dad's the one that taught me that. I watched him and his friend play it one time, and then me and my dad played it. Yeah. I mean,
Dude,
we didn't play it with a real sharp thing. You do it with like a dull knife or a dull yard. We were using a yard shovel, I think, when we did it, and in the mud so that it sticks. But yeah.
You have a boy. Does he play with knives and stuff every so often?
I played with knives.
Only when
Yeah.
he's making meatballs.
We made fucking napalm and
Throwing
and fucking blew up TVs and
I
all
was
kinds
throwing
of shit.
every time I get a knife, I would go outside and try to throw it and make it stick like a fucking ninja.
And when I get older and become a different kind of Unabomber, I will look fondly back on all those memories
Yeah.
as, you know, the seeds.
When
that
you
set me
melted
on
your
my way.
Converse smooth.
Yeah, because I tried to stomp the napalm out and my fucking shoe caught fire.
Hey, That's you can't stomp out napalm.
Yeah. Well, someone did eventually.
Oh, nah, yeah, I think it burned out. I don't remember. Anyway, these guys are probably going to be in federal prison, except in the very prison that they were
which they were trying to traffic.
trying to traffic amphetamines.
Sorry, man. I lost that $89,500 worth of meth.
Yeah,
dude.
the guy, they end up in there with the guy like, what are you doing here? It's like, man, it's a long story.
Where's my $89,000 worth of meth? Oh, dude. Fucking crazy story.
I'm here now.
God, what? How much?
They were 18 and 19, and one of them's going to get deported.
Okay, they must have had multiple T-shirt cannons. Or maybe it was a large air cannon.
They're just pumping.
You gotta decipher these stories. If it said it's like a T-shirt cannon, that means any air-powered cannon. It could have been one that, like an pumpkin chunkin'.
I bet you I can get a fucking Amazon Prime a goddamn air cannon right now. T-shirt cannon.
You know what the sad thing about this story is?
T-shirt
is that
cannon.
These two young whippersnappers may have found a
T-shirt
way
cannon.
to alter and enhance and augment a T-shirt cannon, but they used it for evil. And I don't know.
Yeah,
Sad.
it's not just for hurling shirts at a Limp Bizkit
Oh,
concert
shit.
anymore.
Okay, these things are
Accidental
not that
concussions.
cheap. A miniature one, like a small T-shirt cannon, $800 with a 32 delivery fee on Amazon. Oof.
It's $800 for a T-shirt cannon.
Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
they're incredibly redundant and non-explodable. Like, they're super safe.
Okay, this one called the Bleacher Reacher Pro, $1,724.
Went to high school with a girl called
So
the
these
Bleacher
guys were and the Micro Mini Red 800 Micro Mini. Yeah,
The teacher reacher.
wow. I mean, I didn't realize fucking T-shirt cannons cost that fucking much. Jesus
I wouldn't have
Christ.
thought that much either, but
You can make one with a fucking PVC and a valve.
yeah, but theirs are probably more dependable, more
Yeah.
It probably plays that
a little bit better than our old potato cannons.
Like,
you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What if they did roll up with their truck and they have a PA in the back of it?
Remember when we shot that potato cannon and that guy that was smoking crack on the dock at White Rock Lake?
Yeah, that's still
And
one
he
of my
didn't even
fondest memories.
he didn't even flinch, dude.
Well, he froze like a
you
deer.
didn't hit him. You didn't hit him. You splashed the water underneath him, and it splashed up on him. But he didn't even stop. He was doing that routine where he'd smoke, spin around in a
and then
circle,
hang
walk-
off the dock.
Yeah.
He would take a blast. You could see it. We were just sitting at White Rock, and the pipe would light up the night. And then as his ringer was hitting,
the devil's fireflies.
he would go hang off the dock, like hanging out over the water, and then pull back, pace.
over and over and over again.
And then eventually, when we were leaving, I fired a potato in his general direction.
What was he doing? Like a little like, am I
a
gonna jump?
ritual.
Am I gonna jump? Like, nope.
No, it was 2
Yep,
feet
yep.
over the water.
Yeah,
like-
he was
okay.
just hanging out over it. I don't know. He was high on crack.
It probably just felt really good.
He
when
was
you-
feeling himself,
when you
bro.
just do that.
He was feeling that crack. Anyway,
Crack will do that.
so these guys are in prison with their friends. You know. So there they are.
Happy ending.
Happy ending.
Chris, do you have one that doesn't end up in jail? I mean, Mike?
Well, we'll see. This is also crime related. Says here on the AP, that's
Angry prostitute.
Anglo
Yeah.
Press?
yeah, Associated. From Paris, thieves used a stolen card, which I assume to be credit card or debit card, to buy a winning French lottery ticket. Which the French lottery,
I've never even heard of such
what
a
the
thing.
fuck that's got to be all about? I would love to know.
Cheese related.
We have a 6. Wah, wah. It turned out to be a winning ticket worth 500,000 euros or 523,000
It's
American.
enough to buy Napoleon's underpants.
Yeah. Or, yeah. Did he wear underpants? We don't know. Mine history to be a fickle mistress.
There was something wrapped around that.
A medicated bandage. The man whose card was stolen, identified by police documents as Jean David E., is offering a split to cash with
Jean.
Yeah.
Jean.
Wah! Is offering to split the cash with the lucky winners. He wants his wallet back too. So yeah, these two homeless guys, it turns out, basically yanked this dude's fucking card and bought lottery tickets because if you're living on the streets and you're starving and hungry and worried about where your next meal is going to come from, it's a tactical imperative that you buy lottery tickets.
Or befriend a mouse that can cook food.
Yes, that as well.
Yeah.
Which happens in France, as I'm led to believe by the media. Yeah. The guy came out and he was like, "Hey man, you guys stole my fucking credit card, but since you bought a winning lottery ticket, why don't you give me some of it? Then I won't fucking send you to jail." So
Dun, dun, dun.
remains to be seen.
Damn, I wish I'd have seen this article. I haven't done this one. Man huffs so much duster for years that his bones in his hands started growing because of fluorosis, which is there's fluoride in computer cleaner, and
Your bones can grow?
that's one of the RFK things about fluoride. That's why they use it, because it helps your teeth, because it builds calcium.
Dude, I huffed
Yeah.
so much duster one time I burned my eyebrows off and pissed myself.
Not good.
Well, in between these two homeless gentlemen huffing duster in some French alleyway somewhere, which probably sounded like this.
Hey, Grand Poupon.
Do they actually have Grey Poupon in France?
Fuck yeah, it's made in
They
France.
probably fucking laugh at that shit.
I bet they don't. I don't know.
Dijon?
cheese comes from the
It comes from Dijon, France.
Yeah, but they probably got actual, like... Is Dijon actually a place in France?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just made that up.
No, I swear to God.
That's supposed
That's why I'm always talking
Talk
about the
into
Duke
your
of
fucking
Dijonais.
Siri and Google that shit.
Do they have Grey Poupon in France?
Fruitcake with your fucking voice. Heck.
Could someone please pass the jelly?
Yeah.
Having your asshole, having your salad tossed, having your asshole scooped out with Grey Poupon.
Wow. Okay. Grey Poupon is made in France for European markets in Canada. The American version is made in Holland, Michigan.
What the fuck?
It's made in Paris.
Dude, that's a
Texas.
fucking false advertising, that shit, man.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't
Hey,
know.
man, you're not a mustard.
are we going to discover some Nephilim giants fucking, or what are we doing today?
Yeah, pardon my half-hearted attempt at what's weird this week. Like I said, I've been lost in the mounds, but that's what's weird this week. So, like I said, we've been in the mounds. I've been in the mounds. I don't know what you two have been doing.
I've been in some mounds.
Yeah. Nobody knows shit about these mounds. Actually, what's even weirder is that
Guys, right? They don't understand the mounds.
Yeah.
Am I right, girls?
there's a little man in a boat, apparently, who, I don't know what he's doing out there all day, but you gotta find him.
Not all the mounds like to be slapped around and punched around.
No, some are sensitive.
Yeah, sometimes they like gentle. Never mind.
Sometimes they
go
hide
on.
treasure.
Go on.
Or giants. Or
Sometimes
little
one is
people.
bigger than the other.
So where did Lewis and Clark find these mounds?
They didn't find the mounds.
They didn't really find shit. They were introduced to one that we'll get to here in a minute, and I'm going to use this as our uber example of mounds in America. But I found this quick bit I wanted to read from Peter Levinda's Sinister Forces, because he has a whole like preamble in his 3-book series that talks about the prehistory of America and how we know absolute jack shit about it.
Mm-hmm.
How there's all the different cultures that could have come over, and just we don't know.
Like a panspermia almost.
Yeah, there's so much of our origins as Americans in this land we live that we don't know fuck all about. So, he states, there's an ancient America that lurks beneath the threshold of our collective corn-fed consciousness. We see it all the time. It surrounds us with its feral glow. We have learned to fear it in the dark without learning what it is, what it means. It's not just the woods out back, the lonely desert trails, the virgin mountains where we lose our Boy Scouts or survivalists in the winter snows. It's also in the laundromats, the gas stations, the drugstores, and diners.
I want to read the next part.
Yep.
It's in our standing stones, our Anasazi ruins,
Veto.
our Indian burial mounds. It's the remains of the old ones, the original people, the deep ancestors of our forgotten history. The history before Columbus that is never taught in the schools because we don't know it ourselves. Because we don't want to know. Don't want to accept what has been proved so many times in the past. That this land is ours, haunted by the ghosts of races who lived and died in our lands for thousands of years before we came, and of races we ourselves exterminate with fire and sword and virus. Ain't that the truth? There were vast cities here before us, huge temples dwarfing the Colosseum, the Parthenon, the pyramids of Giza, some built long before any of those more famous structures were ever even dreamed. There were Norsemen here before us, bringing paganism and the worship of Nordic gods. There were Irishmen here before us, bringing a strange mixture of alcoholism and druidism. Standing up their stones and sighting along the solstices, years before the Nina, Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Santa Maria! There were Carthaginians.
Oh, no.
There were Carthaginians here before us.
Maria.
Phoenician traders, perhaps even Buddhists from China. Not doing the accent for that. All the votes aren't in yet. We don't know.
The other ones are okay?
Never mind. All the votes aren't
That
in
sounded
yet.
more like Napoleon Dynamite, to be honest.
Buddhists from China. Orderly.
Wah, wah, wah.
All the votes aren't in yet. We don't know why there are stones engraved with ancient alphabets buried in our farmland. We don't know how they got there. So we file these petroglyphs along with tales of sea serpents and great white whales in the land of fantasy that is the bullseye target of our scientists. And we whisper ourselves to sleep like the voiceover on a late-night talk show while the gloom gathers outside our windows and doors and the dead Indians, the dead Phoenicians, the dead Norsemen chant their ancient mantras to rob us of our dreams. Welcome to America prehistory!
Cats and dogs living together. Total anarchy. Yeah. He paints a very Lovecraftian picture of like what may have been going on, especially in his reference to.
I think it's pretty fucking accurate.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. But the sheer mystery surrounding it all, and he refers to these people who lived here long ago as the old ones, which is something that the Indians referred to their long ago.
I believe they called him El Guapo.
ancestors or.
All right.
Bye,
What can I
little
say?
buttercup.
About men such as these. There are some facts, however, that are disturbing to mainstream archaeologists, and this kind of like plays in with some of the stuff we were talking about in the first episode, who dismiss anomalies as either hoaxes or as inexplicable, preferring to accept the Clovis position, which, for those who don't know, the people
Clovis
who
is
first...
bullshit.
Yeah, the Clovis people were the ones who came here across the Siberian land bridge that all Indian tribes are alleged to have spawned from.
Yeah, even though,
Yeah, allegedly.
allegedly.
Even though no one really knows shit about shit. There is also a political problem with diffusionism, which we talked about last time as well. It essentially, people think that it takes away the credit for Native American culture, basically, like that nothing they did was their own. However, he posits several questions.
But they could both be right. You know,
Yeah.
the Native Americans, there could have been, you know, a dark age in between these prehistoric, way back motherfuckers, and then the Native Americans where, you know, it was like a dark age, and then there was a Native American Renaissance.
Yeah, they could have absorbed, you know, certain cultural aspects from whatever leftovers that their elder folk told them. He posts a couple of these.
I mean, we're talking like thousands of years.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, dozens and hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
years. So yeah, there could be
Of
how long were the
fives.
Dark Ages in Europe? Like what?
Couple hundred years.
800 years tops. You
No,
know,
it was
500, something like
It was
that.
like 400.
You know, so that could very easily have happened here with our indigenous or so-called indigenous people. You know?
Yeah, and you know the fact that there's no records, that there's just once again we are kind of at a dearth of information, and of course,
Ugh.
anytime you have what is because I said dearth.
No, well, I do love that word, but I'm just thinking about how glorious it would have been in a time before people felt the need to record shit on ledgers and fucking books and shit.
It's the same impulse that makes someone videotape a concert with their phone camera as opposed to just enjoying the fucking concert. Which eventually, if evolution keeps heading that way, it's just going to be everyone sitting in a fucking chair looking at themselves, looking at TV.
It's like Gaffigan talks about, that people go to Disneyland, they won't put their fucking camera down. It's like, hey,
Make a memory, dickhead.
put down the camera and enjoy the fucking shit that you're looking at. Instead of people
Get back
taking
in touch
pictures
with
of their
your-
fucking desserts.
Get in touch with your inner child, but not an inappropriate touch. He posits a couple of ideas that are more the fuel for this fire, including
Question.
examination of an Egyptian mummy of the 21st dynasty by a German toxicologist in 1992 shows that the body tested positive for tobacco and cocaine. Products that were native only to the Americas at the time of the pharaohs.
Scientists in the lab spilled some shit, man.
That's the competing theory. But I don't know.
Dude, I highly believe that cocaine could have gotten from the Americas.
It very well could have, but he also could have just been like a scientist, like took a date there, was like, check this shit out. You want to snort lines off this mummy?
He picks the mummy's arms up. He's like, "Hello, Linda. I love you. I'm gonna touch your face with it."
He used the mummy's finger to fucking do a key bump. Like,
yeah, the fucking overgrown,
Fingernail?
desiccated
Yeah,
fingernail.
He's got that Sammy Davis Jr.
but then he's like,
finger.
oh,
It was
something else went in there.
1992 at the end of the fucking 80s Coke binge.
Yeah.
Did that Coke binge ever end? I guess it kind of did, but
At that scale, yes.
yeah.
Well, yeah, the war on drugs put an end to it. 1993.
Drugs
yeah.
won.
Meth one.
Yeah, we got rid of Coke.
It is the top contender. I'll
It is
say
the
that
top
much.
contender.
Fentanyl's making a
Fentanyl's
dark horse.
It's
Okay.
really on the rise.
Question 2.
Mm-hmm.
What are graphic depictions of maize doing on Hindu
You
temples
call it corn.
at Karnataka when maize is another one of those products that are native to the Americas and which supposedly were unheard of and unknown in India at the time of the carvings? The 12th century Anno Domini, otherwise known as CE, current era.
The year of dominoes.
But yeah, well, I've seen some of these maize.
I've seen them too.
It could look like any kind of grain.
It looks like a grain. Just some.
It's
kind
just
of,
a grain on a stalk.
Yeah.
Could be open to artistic interpretation.
Yes.
Yeah, it
I've
could be,
seen temple
millet.
carvings
It
with
could be,
dinosaurs in them.
Yeah.
Could be Camus grains. You know Camus?
I have no idea what Camus is.
Yeah,
He's
it's an ancient grain.
philosopher.
Oh.
No, Kamut.
Oh, Camus. No, he's like that black guy that plays drums.
Oh, yeah.
Camus.
KO.
Mm.
Would you like to read the third question? This
Question.
made me think of you, actually.
Third one.
Yeah.
The sweet potato one.
Okay. What about the sweet potato? What about the sweet potato? Which was known throughout the Pacific Basin, including Polynesia, as early as 400 AD, when the sweet potato is indigenous to the Americas only.
Bum, bum, bum.
That is true because they've been using like yam flour and sweet potato flour as
On their
like
yam bags.
Meat bag. There's lots of not baked goods, but like batters for fried chicken. Like potato starch is supposed to be some of the best starch to use for like breading fried chicken now. And they've been using that shit in like the takoyaki little octopus balls. That's a yam flour too.
Ooh.
It's like
Maybe
how
they
did it
use
get
it
over
as
there?
medical poultices.
You
and
lost
stuff
me
like
at
that, too.
octopus balls.
The octopus
Takoyaki.
is
I
most
do love sweet
likely
potatoes.
of alien
But yeah,
origins.
okay, how do they...
But it's like a
Again,
starch.
a sweet
yeah.
potato just looks like a fucking plant. I mean, in these...
The
Okay.
tuberous root, kind of like the kudzu
What about
vine, which is
what you-
also another sweet potato-like starch that is highly prized in culinary in ideas.
Delicacies.
Yeah, delicacies.
Delicacies. Mounds are found all over the United States. This is where we're getting the mounds. Got a little preamble, and then I got a story that's
The
gonna fucking
mounds.
blow your socks off.
Sweater puppies.
From New England to Missouri, with a few in Texas and some in Florida. There are, in fact, over 100,000 of them, and this does not count all of the sacred circles and standing stones, which most Americans are totally unaware exist in their own country. Some of them are burial mounds, as can be evidenced by the skeletal remains found therein. Others are sacred sites arranged in ways reminiscent of Stonehenge in England, mounds astronomically oriented towards the solstices or to the rising of some specific star. Others are still vast works of art, such as Serpent Mound in Adams County, Ohio, which has been analyzed by professionals and shown to be more than art. An artistic astronomical computer, oriented towards the solstices, the moon, the sun, and the constellations of Draco and Ursa Major, consistent with a theology we can only imagine. And like those intricately engraved Persian astrolabes one sometimes finds in an antique store or a souk, some of these Neolithic sites are mere piles of earth. Others were constructed using wooden logs as a kind of infrastructure. Others constitute what appear to have been entire cities with wide avenues and huge platform mounds enclosing areas in excess of 20 acres or more. These motherfuckers get, like, vast sometimes.
Wonder how many of these Joseph Smith got his ding-dong into. Because he got into quite a bit of them.
He was a treasure hunter, an occult treasure hunter.
Yes.
We'll cover him one day.
That's
Get
too
into
much.
all that
There's
shit.
too much.
Yeah. No, just the treasure hunting.
Just the treasure hunting part. Okay.
It's very interesting. But yeah, there's the Great Hopewell Road in Ohio, which links Newark with Chillicothe. The real mystery in the early 19th century is who built the mounds and why. Although generally referred to as Indian burial mounds, it was acknowledged that the Indians themselves had no precise data to offer as to their origins or purpose. When asked, the Native American elders of some tribes would refer to an older race or tribe that had lived in the area long before their own arrival. In some cases, there were stories of a race of the old ones or the first people who had lived and then disappeared ages ago. Some tribal groups build but found unoccupied, Some tribal groups occupied earthworks and other types of fortifications that they admit they did not build but found unoccupied, such as the Anasazi site in the American Southwest.
Kind of like how the Egyptians adopted the pyramids and called them their own.
Yeah.
Even though they were built way before they were around.
Or all these, ancient temple sites and shit like that are building on top of old shit. Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the UK is like 4 layers of cities built upon cities, built upon pagan burial mounds. And
I don't know. When they talk about the elders talking about, this happened. I mean, think about all the dumb shit your old people told you, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I invented the question mark.
Yeah, grandpas fucking say all kinds of dumb shit that gets passed down. You're like, oh, really? And you believe it for a long time.
An onion on her belt, which was this fashion at the time.
Yeah, fuck. I don't know if I trust the tribal elders, with their...
Smoke a little too much of the peace pipe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, there are certain aspects to it that blended a little credence. We'll talk about here in a bit.
Okay.
But back to the basically the whole Lewis and Clark side of this. The Mississippi mound builders had been declining when the Spaniards came around. The Native Americans of the Southeast slid into a less ambitious way of life. Huge mounds were no longer built. Around the old mounds, the familiar festivals and rituals continued, but hollowly. Nobody knew what the fuck they meant anymore or why they were doing it.
Kind of like Easter here.
Yeah. Zombie Jesus Day, something.
Rabbits.
Haven't the foggiest. Academics have suggested that the mounds stretch so far back into antiquity that they were not built by Native Americans. Perhaps not even by humans.
Nephilim.
Yep, maybe.
Nephilim giants.
Don't say Nephilim because then...
Biblical.
Yeah. Let's just say...
Huge bitch.
Yeah, huge motherfuckers or something. And I was telling
that's
him
a
earlier,
huge bitch.
Some of these fucking genetic traits of having bright red hair and double rows of teeth. My older brother had that shit.
Well, wasn't he wasn't he given birth to at the 3 Mile Island Hospital?
No, he did. I didn't even know about any of this till he one day crashed his bike into I heard the story that he crashed his bike into a gas pump and it knocked a shitload of his teeth out. And he went to the doctor or the dentist or whatever, and the doctor was like, you have 2 rows of fucking teeth in your face. So this is a weird genetic throwback that happens sometimes, like having a tail or super numerous nipples, they call it.
Superfluous.
Yeah.
Don't you have a third nipple?
Supernumerous.
He's got a mole.
It's something, I don't know.
Probably get that checked out.
Yeah. It's been there forever.
Probably go ahead and cut that off of you.
Yeah. I don't know. I've had
you look at this picture of me on the beach fucking 20 years ago. I had that third nipple there.
That's airbrush. Watch out.
Yeah.
From Oklahoma to northern Georgia, explorations of these mounds have unearthed a variety of items ranging from simple shells, ceramics, and pipestones to extravagant ceremonial copper axes. Hundreds or perhaps thousands of mounds were built in the Mississippi Delta. Now, you both may know a little more about this than I do, but do you know about the time frame that like copper weaponry was becoming a thing?
Well, copper tools were
And
like
tools?
were like the actual Egyptian time, like when we're talking like 2,000 years BCE.
I should know that, but I don't.
And you know, as far as our history books go, you know, like 2,000 years, 3,000 years, and it was just copper, and then bronze was closer to the time of Jesus.
Bronze
as far as
was
weapons and tools.
actually no. Bronze Age was 3,300 to 1,200 BC. It's
Okay.
the Bronze Age. So
Yeah.
we entered the Iron Age after that.
The Kali Yuga. Radiocarbon
I
dating.
mean, bronze is an extremely soft metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, imagine trying to keep an edge on a bronze sword.
Oh yeah,
You know, when
it's out of there. You can stab
Like,
somebody
you
once.
you cut through one person's clavicle and you got a fucking dent. In the
Yeah.
Well, that's
edge
why,
of
like,
that thing.
Rest of them, you're just beating them with it.
every time they mention
Yeah.
copper tools, I just think of like the old pennies and how it, like all turns green and just goes to shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like, and I only like true copper does that.
Well, if you-
Keep
So-
it dipped
you-
in infidel blood.
Yeah, if you cover it in lard, it's not gonna
Yep.
patina as quickly. So if
Any
you-
kind of fat. Yeah.
Probably got to say a couple Alakazams over it.
a
and
little
shit.
oil, any kind of oil, you know.
Radiocarbon dating has shown that the decline in the mound builders' population began more than a century before Europeans arrived in the region. The decline and desertion of these people is still a mystery. During the time of the conquistador, there was only one group of southern or southeastern Native Americans who appeared to be able to trace their heritage back far enough to include the mound builders. These people were the Natchez, who, along with the
Nachos.
Choctaw and
Natchez.
Chickasaw tribes, were the primary travelers of the natural trail, which they shared with migrating bison, deer, and other animals, which is basically the whole fucking reason that Lewis and Clark knew where to go. Because they were shown these natural, like, worn-out trails, like
Yeah.
migration trails and shit. Because if you were just, like, two guys who were fucking, like, Harvard educated or whatever and dropped in the fucking woods or whatever, I mean, I know they're outdoorsmen, but you have to find the opposite end of the country.
Well,
Yeah, and it was never them finding the shit. They always had a tracker.
Yeah.
they did have the tracker, and old
Scouts.
Sacagawea was the median in between there. They did a bit of with the Dead Reckoning, and it said they ended up within 40 miles of where they like planned to be
Yeah,
by Dead Reckoning. But also, it's just water flows. They just
that's true.
were like, well,
Yeah.
the water's flowing from this way, let's go that way. They did have to go overland quite a bit, but they're dragging that fucking big boat with them everywhere.
I don't know if we mentioned it last time, but it's mentioned in the book about that is our primary source, that people back in those days, especially Thomas Jefferson and all these educated dudes in power, thought that all that land on the other side of the country would just magically be like symmetrical to everything that was over
That
here.
was the thing that they were saying. They're like, oh, well, there was a mountain range here
Yeah.
that we have to go over, which technically they're kind of
Kinda
right.
right.
They kind of right. Like, it does go mountain range, plains, mountain range,
Yeah.
coast. So they're really not wrong. It's not
Yeah.
symmetrical, but it's not symmetrical.
It was more couched in magical thinking and retardation
Yeah.
than anything else. But yeah, they got lucky on some mountain ranges. I mean, even a broken clock is something.
But they also did. They said when they came over the mountain range, he was totally expecting to be like, oh, the ocean.
Yeah.
And it was not.
Oh fuck!
It was still quite a ways.
There's more to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine how many times that fucking happened.
Yeah.
The few survivors became scattered among the southeastern tribes and were looked upon as wise and gifted with mystic powers. As did the ancient sages of the other tribes, the Natchez had legendary tales of invaders from a region on the other side of the world. The Natchez described the mounds as the work of earlier people. And I was listening to something earlier about, I forget which tribe it was, but there's like a reoccurring sort of origin of civilization story that many of the tribes in central United States at this time had, that a lot of people came from underground.
There was that,
Yeah.
and then there was the thing about the floods.
Yeah,
And
they have flood stories that mirrored the biblical flood, which we know now is...
I mean, shit got flooded.
Yeah, it happened. As the early exploration of America continued, there seemed to emerge mounting evidence of a civilization in the Americas that preceded the natives encountered by earlier explorers. The explanation for oddities such as a race of giants would require a reversal of a long-established intellectual and religious dogma. It seemed less of a task to continue to accept the belief that the Native Americans discovered by Christopher Columbus were the original mound builders. In 1881, the Smithsonian began to actively promote the idea, which today has found its way into the federal government's Department of Education as part of the elementary school curriculum. And that's about all they did, as far as I can remember. They just dropped it in there and didn't say, shit else about it.
I mean, you're an elementary school student. You
Yeah,
need to
you gotta
read
learn social studies.
social study, regular, normal shit, and not really go into these ancient mounds that even the ancient peoples that lived there couldn't quite tell you where it is, except for old grandpa saying, "Oh yeah, the old ones, the big old ones built it."
They flew their chitty bang bangs across the sky.
When literally, like, I don't know, I was just born and it was there. Fuck if I know.
I'm still like weirded out that
that's what we go poop behind.
My high school physics class never talked about the plasma and the fourth state of matter. We just never talked about it. It's weird.
Yeah, there's only so much you can get in there.
Yeah. Government funding. While the Smithsonian may have spent the better part of a century manipulating research and selectively sequestering native artifacts to support the theory that the Mississippi mound builders were an otherwise unremarkable tribe.
Mississippi mound builder.
Tennessee man. You know the song I'm singing? We get together every time we can. Anyways.
Hey, Louisiana woman.
Shit that my dad played when I was a kid. During the you know what? You read that part. During the 1800s.
During the 1800s, the contents of many mounds were revealed to include the remains of huge men with estimated heights of 7 or 8 feet, buried in full copper armor with swords and axes. As settlers moved west, they came across and reported countless mounds. At the time, it was not unusual to find stories or articles in local newspapers about discoveries of the remains of perfectly proportioned giants.
Perfectly.
As land was cleared for settlements and agriculture, some suggested that these mounds and their amazing contents were the products of ancient cultures that predates known native tribes. Tribes that greeted early pioneers told of a long-extinct race of giants.
Yeah, I could go either way on this. I could believe that there were giant people. I mean, if we look at ancient
saber-toothed tigers,
giant dragonflies, giant
Mastodon.
turtles,
You know how
giant
big spiders got way back in the day?
Oh, fuck it. Everything was huge back in the day. And is it possible that, the Loch Ness monster of humans lived on for a little while? And, eventually... They got
chilling in the caves out in Kandahar.
Like a Bigfoot.
The Kandahar giant, yeah. I mean, there could be small little populations of giants that lived until the, 17, 1800, 16, 15, 14, 13. Some of those things.
It's weird, too, in Afghanistan, there's a lot of folklore about giants having, fucked off to the cave systems and the wild places, having red hair. And there's all those dudes.
That one said red hair, too.
Yeah, they have a weird, ritual-based red hair dye thing that they do. So, I don't know.
But the Smithsonian is hiding all of this from us.
Yeah.
Because it has, we have both.
It's run by giants.
Release the bones.
Yeah. It was said, I just pulled up articles while we were talking about mounds, and I put in Indian burial mounds mysteries. And yes, many people have said, many times it has been said that giant bones were pulled from these mounds and then were sent to the Smithsonian and never seen again.
Yeah. Lots of stuff.
Well, but also that's a convenient way to explain why there's no evidence of your proof. Oh, the Smithsonian got rid of them.
Well, yeah, it's also
there's no other bones except for the ones that were
from
sent
the
to the
1800s and
There's
the words of Joseph Smith and shit.
There's other fishy shit too, though, the alleged Egyptian remnant area that they found in the Grand Canyon. That's a no-fly zone.
Can't go
and
there.
People who go there are instantly being tailed by planes and shit.
You don't go down that road.
Oh no. Pet Cemetery.
Sometimes dead is better.
Country.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in the Grand Canyon, and yeah, you're not allowed to go. There's so many places in America that you're not allowed to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Land of the free my ass.
Yeah.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Snake Mound we talked about earlier, there's tons of people.
Is that in Ohio?
Ohio.
Yeah.
Chillicothe, I believe. There's tons of people who want to take out the LiDAR and all that shit and check it out, but they won't let. They're like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, that does make me, and that's one of the things.
Yeah, 'cause then they'll find all the UFOs that are slightly underground.
Well, it's the same thing that a lot of
Or the mass graves
are the theorists, the different, the not archaeologist guys or the alternative history theorist guys. That is a lot of their problems.
Alternative truthers.
Yeah, they go to fucking. They're like, they won't let us use the equipment on the pyramids. They won't let us. What are they hiding? So it does make them look bad, but hey,
they can't handle that there's a dogman civilization living out there.
I mean, shit. The
true,
Egyptians drew pictures of men with dog heads.
Yeah,
the chuds are real.
Dog
travelers
heads.
wrote about the cynocephaly.
Yeah, see?
Ever heard of a blemmy?
But it is very interesting.
Yeah.
And could it have been just some really creative guy drawing some goofy shit at one point? I mean, I might have drawn a man with a dog head when I was a child and thought it was cool, Couldn't they have just done the same thing?
I might have worn an actual dog's head once or twice.
But the skeptic in me also does say, I would like to see what happens. But let's put the LiDAR on it. Let's put some LiDAR on it.
Do it. Just check it out.
Just do it. Why not? Doesn't hurt anything.
They got the LiDAR machines just lying around.
Got all these fucking LiDARs just chilling.
Be creating jobs right now.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't get it. So we talked about giants a little bit. We're going to get more into that a little down the road.
Now we're going to talk about midgets?
Sort of, yes. So giants, right?
My people.
There were mounds with giants in them. However, it is with one particular side journey, which Lewis and Clark made in the name of exploration, that would take them to a place that today sits amidst the vast, isolated, wide-open emptiness of unblemished naturescapes, which make up much of what would eventually become South Dakota. Oh, yeah. One specific location in particular was often spoken of in hushed and reverent tones by the natives, a place they had many names for, such as Pahawakan or Canotino Paha. But today, the most well-known name of this utterly unassuming, blink and you might miss it, enigmatic and nondescript mud monolith is most often just called Spirit Mound. Although some of these other names the natives used included Mountain of the Little People, predating the native tribes, whilst also being widely renowned as an epicenter of quote-unquote bad medicine, which is something that to this day generations of white men continue to scarcely
Badass
comprehend.
song. Bad medicine.
To the day I die. No, yeah. Medicine, magic, those words are interchangeable for many of these people back in the days.
Yeah.
So, when Lewis and Clark climbed the mound on August 25th of 1804, it was already an ancient and some would say unclean and potentially dangerous place. Maybe even accursed. This was, of course, largely seen as nothing but superstitious, nonsensical beliefs of these mere savages, quote-unquote, but nonetheless, its reputation as a place where one was far more unfortunate in the chances that they may just inexplicably disappear, or experience worse at the hands of what were considered malicious trickster spirits, or little devils, as they were called by the white men of the day.
Devils?
Yeah. Because, everything was spelt fucking... there was no...
Oh, yeah, the British fucking...
They used F's, S's. It was all fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the collusion of multiple different European languages.
Yeah, until Shakespeare and the those guys got together and were like, we're going to lock this shit down.
Yeah.
Or they invented Shakespeare, whatever.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, there's a lot of F's and S's. Fucking... It's atrocious. So, yeah, little devils. They were these beings with large, oversized heads that were allegedly able to kill anything instantly with their invisible arrows, all of which sounds suspiciously similar to both modern-day gray aliens, as well as many of the much-feared and respected elementals and nature spirits said to reside
CIA
within...
heart attack guns, invisible arrows.
That JFK eggshell shit we were talking about. Yeah, the elementals and nature spirits that were said to reside within nearly every example of what were considered by the Celtic or Nordic peoples to be primordial megalithic remnants and standing stones or stone circles that were inhabited by or basically functioned as a doorway to another world where lived these invisible races, these hidden folk, as they're known.
Hinterfolk.
Yeah. So most people in the old country, that being these Celtic regions, and this is where the drunk Irish accent may come in later, they often refer to these people as the good and kindly ones because any kind of interaction with these fucking things, like, you have the modern day interpretation of fairies and elves as these, like, Lord of the Rings or, like, little bug wing fucking, like, things flying around. That's the Disneyfication.
Fucking Tinkerbell. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I also think of the brownies on Willow.
Yeah.
It's probably
You
more
remember
like
the brownies?
Pan's Labyrinth kind of fairies.
Yeah, yes, it's
Spooky.
definitely closer to that. People were freaked the fuck out by them.
Mean-spirited.
So much so that they never would say a bad word about them, and that's why they always called them, like, the fair folk and the kindly ones or the gentry.
You're saying I don't actually have squirrels in my
They had
garage.
little
It's probably
people
these fucking
complex.
things
It could be. They are also known to be shapeshifters.
and chewing on wires.
Maybe. I heard they don't like electricity.
You're rife with fairies.
Oh, man.
Got some serious ass fairy problems. Let's see.
Well, I hope they like peanut butter because that's what's going on the trap.
Actually, if you leave little gifts out for these things, they're supposed to kind of, they'll make your shoes when you sleep or whatever. I don't know. There's fucking all kinds of weird different stories about these fucking things.
Well-
because some are good, some are bad. Some will fucking abduct you and you'll be gone for 5 days, but come back having aged 5 years and all kinds of fucking crazy stories.
Well, they better relocate. Either way, I'm shooting them in the head with a pellet gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's claiming manifest destiny on these fucking
Yeah.
squirrels.
Fucking my garage.
That's my standing stone monolith now, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So you had all this weird, like, pre-Christian, pagan, Celtic fairy faith until medieval demonology and alleged witchcraft practices came along, and they had a different spin on these same creatures that all lived, all these things, keep in mind, once again, they lived inside these mounds and in these, like, standing stones and circles, which are all over America.
They're kind of like beaver dams, but not on the water.
Yeah, but beavers made those, whereas... And we can know from watching beavers and their behavior that they do this. They're industrious little bastards. So-
Another ancient thing, giant beavers did exist. They did.
They did.
They did.
And those thunder sloths?
Dude,
Holy shit.
Fucking, can you imagine just encountering like an 800-pound beaver?
Jesus. You're talking about a
20-pound cunt.
I was waiting for you.
Yeah. Spencer's getting hard over there
let
thinking
Spencer
about an
have it.
800-pound beaver.
20-pound cunt, 40-pound fucking cheeks that shit tumble out of.
Okay.
So yeah, when Christianity came along and started putting out books on demonology and witchcraft and shit, these fairies and elves, etc., they got kind of a folklore upgrade, and they're referred to as the invisible people who lived amidst the clouds. They were the foul winds, the airs and aethers. And they were a distinct and separate hierarchy of life forms or beings more akin to what were dubbed as the powers and principalities somewhere in the Bible. Much more closer to angels. Usually
Weakers.
biblically accurate angels, which if you're unfamiliar with biblically accurate angels, they're fucking insane.
The big spinny wheel with the eye in the middle.
Yeah, infinite eyes, or they have like 4 heads of like a bull and a chicken and a, I don't know, what a pig.
Yeah, I don't know.
All your food groups.
It's the wheels within wheels thing. Fucking, yeah, that shit's weird.
So yeah, these were allegedly by the Christian look on these things, like they weren't quite demons, but they would fuck you up if you crossed them. And they were not quite angels still, because they were here on Earth or in the skies and the airs and whatnot. And a lot of these, like everything that, all these books of the grimoires on demonology and shit that came out during the American witch hunts, they all talked about the invisible spirits of the airs and shit like that, and the wonders of the invisible world. So you have this like big crossover of, I don't know, just the UFO folklore and everything, big-headed little people, like all this shit kind of like smacks together.
That's also just a midget too.
Yeah.
Or hydrocephalic or
Yeah. What was that
Or,
thing I sent y'all?
your
The Moobus? The Wombus?
ancestors.
wampus.
Yeah, that creature that I sent you that's at the fair.
Yeah.
What was that?
You've never seen that thing before?
I'd never seen that thing. I've never
Yeah.
paid attention to it, I guess. I don't know.
It's like a pig and a turkey and a
pig, turkey, goat, and
pig,
bull.
turkey, goat bowl. Yeah.
yeah. Turducken.
Pegasus.
Yeah, delicious.
Dude, I think personally that fucking Fair Park in Dallas, Texas, is overflowing with all kinds of weird, kind of semi-pagan.
Oh yeah, that's why they took it down originally. They said.
Really?
You didn't watch the video?
I just watched where he was explaining what it was.
Oh,
To see what a wampus was.
yeah, it was. The one there that's
They
there
think it
now.
was some devil worship shit.
Yeah, it's not the original. They said at some point in the 50s or 60s at the Centennial or whatever, they had they took it down because
No,
it
it was
very
built
pagan.
in the 30s. They took it down in the 40s because of its pagan symbolism.
Yeah.
And then it was rebuilt.
Yeah, they remade it. They don't know what happened to the original one. I bet that man, it'd be
It doesn't look
tight to have that
Christian.
original one.
Didn't Robert Johnson cut a record at Fair Park?
I don't. I think that would have
Before
been.
it was Fair Park in that area?
I think it was just in Deep Ellum.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Deep
Well, they
Ellum.
butt up against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Amongst other body parts. So yeah, the stories of all of this shit that was going on with the mounds, people disappearing in the middle of the night, don't fuck with it, stay away from it, it's sacred. There's weird little people with big heads that live there and they can kill you with invisible arrows, etc. More than one tribe related all of these stories to Lewis and Clark as they were doing their exploration of the mound. And it wasn't just, I believe it was the Ohio tribe who was showing them around. Or no, I'm sorry, the Omaha tribe. But also the Oto, the Sioux, and numerous others, all the stories of which are said to come from one singular source several thousand generations back in their family. Or several thousand years, equaling out to 90 generations.
Telling me it's the word of 800 grandpas.
Basically.
I don't
There's
trust.
going to be a little telephone in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of goddamn telephone in there.
But see, the other part of that is
There's a new one's a transpiring.
yeah, the converse is that your parents can tell you don't touch the stove because it's hot until you fucking actually touch the stove.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that somewhere every couple of generations, somebody was like, oh, fuck this spirit mound bullshit.
Yeah.
And went and tried to Scooby-Doo it out. Maybe something fucked up happened.
Yeah, but then Grandpa fucking popped out with a mask on and scared the shit out of him and made him believe it again.
And then they both
Wasn't
got
for these
raped by
damn
gray
kids.
aliens.
Yeah. And then the aliens actually showed
I
up.
was going to build a water park on that mound. So yeah, the Indians refer to them as the Canotila, or the little people. And this whole story apparently has been...
Little people, giants. Make up your mind already.
Well, there's both. And these are not, there's that, I can't remember the name of it, but they found those little, like, skeletons of little people.
Oh, the ones in Inca or Mexico,
Yeah,
Colombia, something like that.
Yeah. Not
Nope.
the recent ones.
Not the
This
ones
is,
they-
like, way farther
Oh, yeah,
back.
yeah,
in,
okay,
like,
not the ones they took to
70s or
Congress.
80s. No.
Not those little paper.
Those are questionable at best.
Yeah, the paper mache. Yeah, no, I know. I think I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah, they have, like, weird kind of, like,
they got big heads.
yeah, weird shaped heads and shit. Like,
It
supposedly
really
there were
kind of does
other-
look just like a developing fetus.
I don't know that head shape, man.
I mean, the
Something to it, it's
fetuses
weird.
got big old fucking heads on them, bro.
Do they?
You ever seen a newborn baby?
Well, yeah, but it's a baby,
Especially
not
a fetus.
developing
The head is
fetus.
the same size
No,
as the torso.
it starts out as a big-headed sperm with a tail.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing to develop is the head. Then the body creeps up after that.
Well, these things, like the skeletons I'm talking about, are smaller than babies. So, like, the idea was thrown out that, yes, maybe they were, like, deformed children,
Yeah,
or what's a preemie of some
yeah,
sort.
aborted fetuses.
But there were many, many of them, and they were, like, sat in, like, sitting positions and shit.
Well, that was back when abortion was legal in North America.
Well, that or it could have just been many, many miscarriages from a very sad woman.
Possibly. Linda, I don't know why you keep trying.
Yeah, but this is like,
Stop it
can we
already.
just go ahead and throw? You're pregnant again. Can we just throw the last one out, please? That's kind of. I
can
know
make
it's
another one.
Yeah.
It's dead, isn't it? Oh.
Boy, this got dark as fuck.
Yeah. Well.
I don't know. I'll never have a kid, so.
My baby's not dead. It's just hungry. Let me give it some more milk. It'll come back alive.
That's Spencer.
Come back alive.
That is quite okay.
No, he's just
Joel Osteen, can you
Just
bring my
sleeping.
baby back? Help me, please.
Wait, didn't they do that? Didn't somebody do that? They brought a dead baby
God,
into
don't
a preach.
fucking tell me.
It happened before.
Yeah.
One,
I'm
once,
sure it
I'm
happened
sure.
lots in
Yeah,
the
somebody
past.
brought a dead baby into a mega church.
Bring a
and-
fucking purple veiny fucking thing coming out of it.
All right.
Ugh.
Yeah. And anyway,
Get
Mike,
Get that little demonic alien out of here.
continue.
Put it back
I'm gonna look
inside
up
of me,
that
preacher
situation
man.
real quick.
This one ain't done yet. Needs to cook a little longer.
Oh God.
Come on, I'll squat. I'll squat over this fire pit here, and y'all just cram it up in me, and it'll be all right. Hello.
This is his twin tumor face. Good God. Okay.
Oh wait, I found a real video of a real video quote,
Vaginal reinsertion
of a
baby?
dead baby being resurrected
Oh,
when they're
God.
praying to Jesus. Yep.
does it have blooper music playing in the background?
I don't know. It's in Ghana. Just in Bethel Church. Oh no, this is another one. Bethel Church.
The day of miracles has come. Hallelujah.
Okay, so unfortunately, we're following up all the dead baby talk, which was fun, with something that's a bit darker.
Slide that baby back up in me. It ain't done cooking yet.
I just keep picturing like Jabba the Hutt, just little weird, weird slimy things happening. So yeah, lots of Indian genocide was taking place all throughout America's history.
For a little bit of lighter reading.
Yeah, we knew this was coming eventually.
I mean, to be
So-
fair, they killed each other before we got here.
Well, yeah, but we fucking like
Wiped them. Yeah.
we made a science of it
Like-
basically.
I see y'all
We
are
were
pretty
the
good at
best
killing.
at it.
Yeah.
Killing. Let me show you a little something.
You guys ever heard of whiskey? I think you'll love this stuff. So
That ain't no bullshit. When I lived in Santa Fe, I made a few friends
Tread
that were
carefully.
Navajo.
Okay.
Are you
Yeah,
about
well-
to say
well,
a
no,
bunch of
he
drunk
just-
Indians?
He was a guy that was like studying under a medicine man, and he was saying on the Navajo reservations, like the dollar stores and shit, they have to keep hand sanitizer and mouthwash behind the counter like cigarettes because people will drink hand sanitizer there. Because, the Native Americans were only introduced to alcohol, a couple hundred years ago. They didn't have the same development with alcohol that white Anglo Europeans had. So that's like it's like a genetic marker that makes Native American people more prone to alcoholism. And it's clear as day if you go to the reservations. Also, there's a lot of desperation and shitty living
Yeah, I was
situations.
going to say, that sounds more like a larger systemic problem that would drive someone to do something like eat or drink.
Well, yeah, but
hand sanitizer.
Yeah. But anyways,
I don't know. They probably at least had beer or wine, or I mean, all it takes is
Fermented.
fermented
fruit,
anything will
something.
fucking get you. I mean, birds get drunk off of berries that go bad on the vine.
Monkeys do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, fucking.
the monkeys, they don't just do it.
There was probably all kinds of fucking awesome.
yeah, the
drugs.
bonobos actually make eye contact when they're making love. They're the only other animal species that does that.
Couldn't
beside
do it.
us.
I just laugh at their noses.
And then they also fucking mutilate each other and fucking. I love
Not
I saw-
bonobos. Bonobos are passionate lovers.
Is it horrible?
No,
that
what
I
I'm
went
talking
into
about-
the monkey stuff after talking about Indians.
Huh?
Okay, never mind. Just checking.
Hey, still with us?
We're just talking about natural instincts here. I mean, of every living animal, every living animal.
To kill and to
You
fuck.
ever seen two
killing-
bonobos fucking on weed? Oh.
No, I'm sure there was all kinds of awesome drugs also that we don't know about who are lost to time now, unfortunately.
It might be a couple.
Consider that prior to the establishment of the Federal Department of Education, the Smithsonian Institution was looked upon as the guardian of the physical facts that had shaped our culture, the culture of a new world. At the time, the Smithsonian and its political and scientific endeavors were an outgrowth of the federal politics of the early 1800s, most notably struggles to deal with the so-called quote-unquote Indian problem. This whole Indian problem we showed up, all these people are here just hanging out, harmony with nature, can't have this shit.
Even that is in question that they all lived in harmony with nature and they were all peaceful.
I mean,
blowing pan flutes.
Yeah,
and
I
shit.
would rather
they had warriors. To have warriors, you have to maybe you have
and
a war.
hunters. I mean, there's bloodshed. You have conflict in life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would.
Hey, get off my lawn, asshole!
I mean, there had to have been like over farming disasters, or like over hunting, where all of a sudden the whole little village
That's how you
starves
learn.
to death.
I don't know. Just compared to what was going on in Europe at the time, I would have rather been kicking it with some fucking Indians. That's for sure. Anywho, yeah, the struggles to justify the social cost of westward expansion were the prime motivator behind all of this. Government officials at the time of the Lewis and Clark expedition in 1804 considered the native occupation of the American continent to be the chief impediment to the creation of this new world, a new Atlantis, if you will. And while Thomas Jefferson is well known for being fascinated by and supportive of the so-called Indians and other saucy things he did,
Yeah, if you want to call it that, he was interested in adorning his abode with mummy skulls and shit.
Oh, okay.
Ancient artifacts. Look at this old shit that I have.
Yeah, he was one of those creepy private collection guys too. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know that the Skull and Bones Society allegedly has the skull of Geronimo, and they would like perform like ritual initiations and shit on it.
Did they work?
No, it's just like thank you, sir. May I have?
Yeah, it
another?"
was
All
supposed
that
to be
kind of shit.
Prescott was one of the ones that got it.
Yeah, they went and dug him up.
I mean,
so-
I'm sure they like pulled out their wiener. They're like, check this out, tapping my wiener on Geronimo's
This is
skull.
called
Hey,
Assault
how
of
are
a
you?
Thousand Reeds, and they'd all just pull their dicks out and slap his blindfolded face.
Yeah,
It's a lot like the wreck of the Hesperus. So, while Lewis and Clark were gathering information about native peoples and exploring potential trade routes west, Jefferson was developing a simple 4-step plan to completely fuck the native peoples out of their very way of life in what would later become a government policy known as Indian removal.
Mhm.
Which sounds like something you like call to have done. Just like, can you come get these guys?
Yeah, it's like a service that Roto-Rooter would.
Yeah. This is much horrific in scope.
Got Indians stuck in your drain? Call Roto-Rooter.
Oh, God. Who wants to read the 4 steps?
All right. Step 1. Encourage the natives to adopt agricultural practices which would reduce their territorial hunting areas. He hoped then that the government agents would be able to convince natives to sell their surplus land. Like, hey, you're not using it because now you're just farming
Yeah.
a couple acres to feed your family. You don't need all these other acres.
You know what goes great with a new value system? Give us your land.
Alcohol.
And alcohol.
Also,
Test your faith.
check
Need-
out this.
need more
check
blankets?
out this blanket. Yeah. let's-
Yeah.
And okay, step 2. Amp up the first step in encouraging natives to adopt a European-style agricultural economy in hopes that they would become dependent on trade with European settlers. That dependence, in turn, could be used as a leverage against natives who resisted selling their land.
Look at those Navajo trading posts that I saw everywhere in Santa Fe.
It is-
I mean, it's like a direct result of that.
Well, that's the thing. You get caught up, like, we're all
Poor
stuck in the
shit.
system. We need the things because we've been part of it our whole lives. You get somebody in it, they're used to getting their goddamn cereal at Walmart. They can't go
Goddamn.
anywhere else.
I mean, when all
But
I have
fucking
is
Walmart.
an air
Yeah.
conditioner one day.
Where are you
I
going to
won't
go
do it
mining
with
for
it.
Count Chocula? No, you get it here in the Save-A-Lot.
Yeah, exactly.
But.
Step 3, establishing government trading posts near native settlements. His hope in this case was that the natives could be fooled into spending themselves into debt. That debt, in turn, would be forgiven in exchange for tribal lands, which would be appropriated by the federal government.
Yeah, they get you.
His hope.
Ugh,
That's his hope. That's like when he sits there on at his hope chest at night
pray.
while he's like combing his hair.
That
He's
is
like, boy, I hope they give up all their land.
what is
Ooh."
known as usury, and that's in
Yeah.
a certain other play. And for step 4,
Look how he adopted it to the situation, though.
yeah,
Our forefathers.
yeah,
Classes.
it's Milla time for Whitey, huh?
Yeah, that's step 4.
Okay. Many tribes, including members of the Choctaw, Creek, Cherokee tribes, willfully adopted European culture. They assimilated thoroughly, building schools and churches and creating government structures that resembled that of the United States of America. But Jefferson and agents of the American government met with increasing resistance from other tribes.
In 1803, the same year that the Louisiana Purchase was announced, and the same year that Lewis was chosen as the leader of the westward expedition, Jefferson sent a letter to the then governor of the Indiana Territory, William Henry Harrison. I believe he died in 30 days when he became president.
Something like that, yeah.
Outlining his plan for removing the remaining resistant natives.
Have y'all ever seen how big the land was for the Louisiana Purchase? It was like Louisiana.
The whole middle section of the United States.
Yeah.
It's bigger than...
How could that be we need more?
You could barely fit it in the middle of Europe.
I mean...
Not counting Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, just... Couldn't that be enough?
It's called Lebensraum, Spencer.
Yeah, I know.
Space.
Fucking... God wants us to take
He does.
this land.
It's called the white man's burden for us to civilize the rest of the world.
Savages.
Yeah. To promote this disposition to exchange lands which they have to spare, and we want them, this is Jefferson I'm quoting, for necessaries, whatever those may be, which we have to spare and they want, we shall push our trading uses and be glad to see the good and influential individuals among them run in debt, because we observe that when these debts get beyond what the individuals can pay, they become willing to lop them off by a cession of lands. In this way, our settlements will gradually circumscribe and approach with us as citizens of the United States or remove beyond the Mississippi. The former is certainly the termination of their history most happy for themselves. But in the whole course of this, it is essential to cultivate their love. As to their fear, we presume that our strength and their weakness is now so visible that they must see we have only to shut our hand to crush them, and that all our liberalities to them proceed from motives of pure humanity only. That's what I'm picking up reading this. I don't know about you guys. Should any one tribe be foolhardy enough to take up the hatchet at any time, the seizing the whole country of that tribe and driving them across the Mississippi as only the condition of peace would be an example to others and a furtherance of our final consolidation.
Straight from the fucking Mein Kampf.
I mean,
Chris would say otherwise.
I know it's actually it's straight out of the
Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Yeah, it's actually out of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
I've actually heard that book was based on some other shadowy group, but was rewritten to become like a psychological
to fit the
warfare
culture of
tool.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
What shadowy group?
Illuminati.
Huh?
Illuminati.
Oh, okay. The Germans.
Yeah, the Bavarian Illuminati.
Yeah,
The for real no shit one, not the
The one that was actually yes.
yeah, not the
The
one Kanye is
real
running
the
from.
real shadowy Illuminati.
Yeah. There's also weird rumors that what's his name? Adam Weishaupt one day ended up replacing George Washington because they kind of looked alike. But I might be getting that mixed up with something I saw on The Simpsons. Anywho, this letter outlines...
After 30 years, it's hard to tell what's
it all just runs
what's
together.
real and what's Simpsons.
Yeah.
It's so influential. This letter outlines that the last part of Jefferson's grand design, which included a notion that would become known as land exchange, this involved trading tribal land in the eastern portion of the continent for land west of the Mississippi, what was then known as the Louisiana Territory, aka the Louisiana Purchase. Later, this practice would become the conceptual foundation for the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Although Jefferson also been a vocal proponent of natives' nobility, intelligence, and equality for decades, his philosophical perspectives were seemingly trumped by his political ambitions and pervasive Eurocentric myopia. It was those same political ambitions that encouraged Jefferson to send Lewis west, both as an emissary and as a scout, and probably, I don't know, Typhoid Mary type thing of sorts. I don't know, biological warfare. It also follows that Lewis's appointment as governor of the Louisiana Territory was, at least in part, granted because Lewis had spent years studying and negotiating with native tribes. He was well suited for overseeing the task of relocating tribes to their new quote-unquote homes in Louisiana. As a seasoned naturalist, he was also well suited for overseeing the various tribes' training in European-style agricultural practices. Jefferson's move to quote-unquote civilize the natives out of their land and some of the scientific theories that he ascribed to would later evolve into a doctrine known as progressive social evolutionary theory, taken up by one John Wesley Powell, who had come to exert great influence over the United States public policy as head of several government agencies. He ended up becoming he's basically an archaeologist, but the Dollop does a really awesome episode on him as well. Powell began to exert real influence beginning in 1879, when he was named director of the Smithsonian Institute's Bureau of American Ethnology, which he helped create. So essentially, this is the birth of anthropology and measuring people's heads to find out how inferior they are and shit like that.
So why did he hide the giants? Did he think the giants were
because
Indians?
they had bigger brains than us.
He was on a lesser pay grade than what was going on with all that shit, apparently.
You think he never saw no bones?
I'm sure he did. There's all kinds of stories in
Make no bones
archaeology.
about it.
We'll talk about Bone Lick Butt later. It's the place they went. No, there's all kinds of stories in archaeology about.
Wait, is it Bone Lick Butte?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think so. But come on. It sells itself. No, there's all kinds of stories in like this era of archaeology of people going to war, building fake dinosaurs or fucking planting fake giants and shit because their agendas have to win out above all else.
Yeah.
So that's like the real impetus behind a lot of what's going on and what they're looking for, where they're going, etc. By 1879, work begun by Jefferson and Lewis, including the study of native cultures and efforts to assimilate seemingly beloved natives into Euro-American or white culture, had become an official government mandate. Like Jefferson, Powell made countless moral concessions in order to be able to continue his work. These concessions included modifying or perhaps ultimately coming clean about his philosophical and scientific prejudices. Put simply, Powell was at heart and at the end of the day a racist. He believed natives, while fascinating in their own right, were inherently inferior to Europeans. Jefferson's racism, however, was secondary to his overall horniness for hot chocolate.
Boy, he loved that.
Woo! This belief, championed by the emerging science dubbed ethnology and later anthropology, became a pseudoscientific and philosophical justification for the decimation of native tribes, the plundering of natural resources, and the ever-growing list of horrific consequences of westward expansion begun by Jefferson and Lewis. Legislators, university boards, and magazine moguls found it useful to explain this ideological crisis in terms of a natural hierarchy of class and race caused by a struggle for existence wherein the fittest individuals or races advanced while the inferior became eclipsed. So you can see where this is probably all going to lead. Professional anthropology emerged in the midst of this crisis. And although today it is vastly different from what it was when it was created, it's actually it tries to be partial or impartial, I guess. But
Plumbers, too.
Yeah.
Much different when it was created.
Yeah. It's just water Lego. So they say. Professional anthropology emerged in the midst of this crisis, and the people who used anthropology to justify racism in turn provided the institutional foundations for the field. By the last decades of the 19th century, college departments, professional organizations, and specialized journals were established for anthropology. The study of quote-unquote primitive races of mankind became comparable to geology and physics. These institutional apparatuses, along with powerful representatives in the American Association for the Advancement of Science, prestigious universities, and the Smithsonian Institute, gave anthropology its academic credentials as a discipline in the United States. The budding discipline gained power and prestige because ethnologists articulated theory and research that resonated with the dominant discourse on race at the time. In closing, in an article written for American Anthropologist in 1888 titled From Barbarism to Civilization, Powell made his views about natives and the so-called Indian problem very clear. Quote, in setting forth the evolution of barbarism to civilization, it becomes necessary to confine the exposition, ... to one great stock of people, the Aryan race.
Did he actually say Aryan race? Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's been around forever.
Yeah, it didn't have the same
cachet it does now.
Yeah, it didn't have the same implications as it did.
Yeah.
I dare say pedigree. Ow, I bit my tongue.
I mean, I knew it was around at the time because of Blavatsky, but I didn't know it was like widely used.
Well, yeah, but Blavatsky stuff was all like spiritually based. It wasn't even like a...
Didn't have to do with conquest.
Yeah, it didn't have to do with genetics and interbreeding or anything like
Thought
that.
it did.
Or even skin color or nationality.
No, yeah. It was like, because if you look at the Aryans she's talking about in the context of all those like root races and shit,
Yeah.
like the other root races were like, one was like a watery sea serpent people who were made of air, and just fucking, it's all wacky shit. And these were like the spiritual evolution more so of humanity as they came along and civilization became what we know and tolerate today. This view that Native and African American races were inherently inferior to Europeans became institutionalized thanks to Powell and powerful allies of his, including Powell's mentor, ethnologist, lawyer, senator, and railroad baron Lewis Henry Morgan, finance lord and museum magnate George Foster Peabody. No one took him seriously, I'm sure, at the time. Publisher, AAAS president, and key developer of the Department of Anthropology at the American Museum of Natural History, Frederick Ward Putnam, and influential educator Nathaniel Shaler, who worked tirelessly to produce scientific rationale for segregation and mistreatment of African Americans. The views created by these so-called vanguards of cultural study persist and only now have begun to unravel in the face of modern inquiry.
No one calls me Peabody. Get away with it. Hey, George, I just fostered a Peabody in the urinal. You should go check it out.
Isn't there a Peabody Award? Isn't that for journalism?
I think so.
Weird.
Probably linked up.
Weird.
Uh,
In fact, in the past several decades, archaeological and ethnic studies have eroded, and in some cases obliterated the notion that natives of the American continents were simple folk who lived in perfect harmony with the land around them. Whoop, hoisted by my own petard on that one. Authors such as Jared Diamond and Charles Mann, for example, have collected and presented evidence that natives molded and shaped the land, created technologies and systems of government, institutions, advanced agricultural practices, public sanitation, plumbing, and other artifacts previously believed to be the sole province of non-natives.
Well, that was part of what was in the book that they were talking about how they had like roads and blocks,
Roads.
like basically a layout like a city. And they're like, well, this is very
those
European.
ancient aqueduct pipes.
Yeah.
You know, like
irrigation
clay
systems.
pipes, yeah.
That's why the theory that the like Viking or Norse people made it over and became one with the natives well before the traveling of Meriwether.
Yeah. And that's essentially the high note to leave it on, I guess. Because we know how fucking history ended up. Obviously, we have hindsight. We're Monday morning quarterbacking it, so you know.
It turned out fine.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm here.
Well, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I remember telling you that the 80s was a dark time. You're like, no, I watched Ninja Turtles and like,
Yeah, it was sick.
candy. And
They had the
fucking
best
80s.
toys ever back
yeah,
then.
I was like, no, the crack and AIDS and all that shit. I meant everything else was terrible. Not your 80s, the 80s.
I think the 80s were awesome.
There was some okay stuff. I mean, we came out of it. So,
If I
maybe
still
I'll,
had all my Ghostbusters action figures.
I just wish I had my Halloween suit, the backpack, and all the accoutrements to dress up still.
Yeah, I had
I
the
would do
trap
all the
and
time.
everything with the foot pedal, you know? Little projector gun. It was like a photon blaster, and it was just like a projector with different slides, and you could project a ghost onto the wall. And
Yeah,
then it would
I had
shoot
that
with a
one.
yellow. Yeah.
Man, I would wear that suit everywhere, and I would hide drugs in my slime. That's what I would do today. So the mounds generated so much public interest that the Bureau of American Ethnology dedicated a quarter of its budget to their exploration. That work, overseen by Thomas, spanned 12 years and produced massive amounts of data from the work at more than 2,000 sites. In 1894, Thomas produced a 700-page report on the mound explorations of the Bureau of Ethnology, as part of the 12th annual report of the Bureau of American Ethnology to the Secretary of the Smithsonian Institute. It began with the question on many people's minds: were the mounds built by the Indians? Thomas concluded, in keeping with his superior's wishes, that natives had indeed built the mounds. We may never know the true answer to this question, thanks to Powell's seemingly benevolent and later ironic decision to reject all evidence that might contradict his assertion that early America had not been visited by any European, African, Middle Eastern, or any other non-Asiatic, non-native peoples. Voluminous amounts of irreplaceable historical data were lost, destroyed, misplaced, or deliberately fucking, I don't know.
Fuck it, guys, let's go solve this mystery. Let's take some fucking shovels and go dig up a burial mound.
Mystery machine.
Let's go fucking dig up a burial mound. Let's get this shit solved already.
For real, I mean, there's still plenty of them there.
There's one pretty close to us that
now they're all
has
protected.
giant bones and shit.
Where?
In
Oklahoma?
No, Rockwall or Rowlett.
Saxy?
I always get those two confused, but I know it's one of the R.
Probably Rockwall.
Yeah.
Has the rock wall.
There is the rock wall, but I mean, you know, they thought it was an actual man-made wall, but now that the capital S or the capital H historian said no, this is a natural formation. But I say we could dig all that up, but it's underground downtown Rockwall, so you can't anymore.
They built it on top of it?
Yeah, well, it was like when they first discovered the rock wall, it was like a 2 mile by 7, like a huge thing.
Yeah, it was big.
And they it was like a tourist thing for a while. People would go and take tours of it, but then it started to crumble, so they filled it in so it didn't fall on anybody, and then they built rock wall over it.
Yeah,
so we couldn't go.
There were,
but LiDAR maybe.
There were like little nooks and crannies, kind of like rooms, and I use the word room.
Yeah, and there was holes that were like the size of a horse neck, you know, so they thought it was like a livery stable at one point, you know, like a horse market.
Yeah, and there's also talk of, like, there's newspapers, of course, from the fucking turn of the century that talk about giant skulls being found there, fucking weapons made of metal that don't really make sense for what they think around that time would have been.
But now, conveniently, there's no
yes, all this
evidence of
that. It was, I don't know.
Now it's got a
thank you, Herbert Smithsonian.
Trendy burger place probably built on top of it.
Yeah, it's right under the In-N-Out.
Thriving.
Right under smashed the Native American burgers.
Yeah. Oh, those burgers are delicious.
I could go for a couple right now.
Oh, man. Taste that firewater sauce.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for today's. I guess we're going to have to do a third and just throw in all the excess crazy shit, including
Bigfoot,
Meriwether,
skunk, ape.
There's Bigfoot stuff. There's a couple other cryptids. There's, once again, a shit ton of syphilis and STDs going on.
Which they didn't bring. The Indians actually gave that to them.
Well,
didn't stop them, though.
Debatable.
I mean, from the sources I saw, they picked it up from the Indians.
But because when Columbus and all his peeps, so
the Spanish gave the Indians the syphilis.
Oh, I heard syphilis came back with Columbus and his fellas.
Yeah, but then when it got to Europe, everybody blamed everybody else, which only illustrates, no, syphilis is the disease.
Well, I believe
of
the Europeans.
People. Yeah.
But
weren't
the indigenous
just wash their dick or vagina? Just, I don't know, fucking standards of hygiene were different.
Yeah, if you see a woman with her vagina missing, that's normally a clear sign. Don't stick your dick in that.
Out of it.
Oh,
Christ.
Get that baby. I put it back inside, but then it crusted up into a giant scab, and then it all fell out.
You guys are forgetting. Bushes were huge back then. You can't see the sores.
Oh, it's like a fucking bird's nest with
there's
fucking
medical
meat grease.
Advantages of that. Well,
having a bush or no bush?
A big old bush. Yeah. It's like protected.
Yeah, and it's like an ecosystem, and also, but because of all the pube shaving, and I may have mentioned this 3 other times before in the past, but genital crabs, lice are on the endangered species list now because all the young girls shaving their bushes and their all the twat shavings.
That was a mid-2000s thing. The bush has kind of come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, lice are gonna be seeing an upswing though. It'll be a lice renaissance. lysosance,
I
if
hope
you
there's
will.
not some sort of genital Lyme infection that comes with this. I don't know. We could be seeing.
Dude, could you imagine? I would rather have
Epidemic
chlamydia than lice, where you can feel them crawling around on you and biting you. Like, to me,
my whole
that's
body is overflowing with bugs right this second. I feel it.
well.
all
So
the
is
time.
mine.
Yeah.
So is everyone's. I mean, there's more bacteria DNA in our bodies than there are.
I made
our
the mistake
DNA.
there was some Instagram channel of a guy that puts everyday items under a microscope to show you all the fucked up
Oh, those
shit.
are horse shit.
No, it was, I mean,
Yeah, there's bugs in everything.
I know,
Everything.
but it's just gross.
Like, oh, you can't eat ramens because there's these little fucking microscopic worms. Guess what? Rub your nose and put that on the slide and see.
Well,
what's
that's what
on
I'm
it.
saying. The guy was just literally touching things and putting it on the slide, spitting on it. and
Well,
it's
I've
like,
seen them deriding a lot of popular foods. Oh, hot dogs. Oh, look at all the bugs in the microscope.
Oh, yeah. No,
that's
that's
fucking everything.
Yeah, it's
and
delicious.
and
Everybody
it's turning
knows
my
that
little
with-
boy off of ramen noodles.
Everybody, and that's cheap food.
Yeah.
You can't get away with
ramen
that.
noodles are kind of terrible. They're actually a really bad food for you.
Plus,
Thanks
with
for the
hot
parenting
dogs,
class,
man,
Chris.
everyone knows you can have at least like 5% rat feces in there, and it's okay. And also that hot dogs were
Kids can eat
invented
styrofoam and still
because
grow.
a family of raccoons
Shit
got
asses.
lost in a toothpaste factory, and here we are today. Shit happens in this country, doesn't it? Anywho, so we'll be back next week.
You know where those bugs aren't? Firewater.
That was one of the things he showed. He spit on it on the slide and then injected vodka onto it, and then you just start seeing all the germs die.
Should have got Hot Tua to spit on it.
Yeah.
See what's in her spit. You ever see a dollar bill under a microphone?
Oh, weed.
Man, there's like demons and shit in there. Okay.
Anyway,
My brain hurts.
yeah,
I'm Mike.
I'm a little sloppy today, sleepy.
Spencer, my gut hurts.
I'm just tired.
Tin Man.
Just tired.
Cowardly Lion.
Christopher
What about you,
motherfucking Wells.
Scarecrow? Oh, wait, no, I'm the Scarecrow. It's your heart. You're the Tin Man.
Oh yeah, I guess I am. I like metal. I use metal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with being the Cowardly Lion.
Actually, I guess that is all quite fitting.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest pussy in this room, I'd
If
say.
I only had access to various human brains that I could keep in various containers around my house. Anywho, we'll be back with the end of Lewis and Clark with the syphilis and the banking conspiracies and
Or is it?
the cryptids. Or is this all we're doing forever now? No, it's not. Good God, no.
Mounds. Nephilim giants. Bye.
I'm just getting into a prophetic vein. Someone with a digestive tract problems, quickly call. There's a miracle for you. Intestinal problems. Someone with similar intestinal problems. We've seen several people being delivered from the colostomy bag. Disability with a child, some type of a learning disability. We've seen many children healed. We've seen midgets grow.